Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of On Tap Bets and On Tap Golf. I am your host, Joey Ricotta, joined as always by my guy, Jack Bushman at Jack Bushman2. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. Before we start the show, make sure you go ahead and go to ontapsportsnet.com. Check out all the Chicago sports content over there. All social media platforms at OnTap Sportsnet. We are back again, Jack, to break down another golf tournament here at Mayakoba, the Worldwide Technology at Mayakoba Championship. So I probably just butchered the hell out of that title.
The name's ridiculous anyway. We're just going to call it the Mayakoba. Make life easier. It was the OHL at Mayakoba. It's been called a lot of different things over the years. So short and sweet, we're just going to call it Mayakoba.
It's too long. It's too long. I don't like long names of things. Just give me like short, sweet, direct.
CJ Cup. Perfect.
CJ Cup. Yeah, why? Why couldn't we just have that again? Jack, we didn't get an outright last week. Another like short odd favorite takes it down. Seamus Power. Then you had Thomas Dietrich up there at the top. We like both those guys. We bet on those guys quite a bit. Didn't pan out for us, so we did not bet on them last week. Jack, what are your thoughts heading into this week? And I barely scraped by. Picked up a little bit of points on you in the one and done. We were both horrible, though, our selections. I had Russell Knox. You had Aaron Rye. Give me a little bit of your thoughts before we break down this tournament about what transpired last week.
Yeah, it wasn't really good for either of us. Bets-wise, obviously, came up empty on the outrights. Neither of us did all that well in the one and done. You had Russell Knox, who came T49. I had Aaron Rye, who came T54. And yeah, Seamus Power, another one of the favorites, takes it down for his second PGA Tour win. A little bit frustrating because if you remember on our research show, I said the two guys I liked at the top were Mark Hubbard and Seamus Power. I ended up going with Hubbard because his iron play had just been a whole heck of a lot better than Powers as of late. If you go and look at the numbers, strokes gained approach on Seamus Power hadn't been very good for the last couple of months. I knew he was capable of taking down a tournament with that weak of a field. But it was frustrating that I ended up passing on him for Mark Hubbard, who had a really tough week. So, yeah, just going to have to put that one in the back burner, man. No harm, no foul. It was the Bermuda Championship. Like, just glad to have it in the past. And hopefully we can get back into the W column this week for what I feel like is going to be the last, at least semi-strong field event of this fall season before the Hero World Challenge that Tiger Woods hosts. So hopefully we could take advantage. We got 5 of the top 16 in the OWGR here. It's a pretty decent field all in all. So I'm excited for it. I really like this course. I think it's super unique. And hopefully we can get back to our winning ways here and take advantage of this last final tournament before the calendar changes. And that's the next time we'll probably have some real interest in a golf tournament.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand about maybe, 3 weeks away or something like that until it's a real tournament again, or decent field anyways. Yeah, man, I'm excited for this week, though. I kind of like this week, like you mentioned. We'll see what happens here, but it sounds like it's going to be a birdie fest. I mean, the scoring average is around like 20 under for the winner since about 2013, I think it is. So we're going to see a lot of birdies, a lot of scoring opportunities. Guys are going to be they're not going to be shooting extremely long. Like long distance guys, they don't have to. They can kind of cut down a little bit and just shoot for pins. Like you can really just shoot for the pins here. Jack, give me a little bit of a course breakdown here, though. At El Chameleon, I don't even know how to say it correctly. Is that how you say it?
I think it's El Chameleon, I think.
Chameleon, okay.
El Chameleon Golf Course in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, which I'll tell you what, we are getting some nice weather here in Chicago, but I'd love to be down in Playa del Carmen right now for this tournament. That would be awesome. But this is a course that it stretches.
That's after our Vegas trip. That's the next trip.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call up the PJ and be like, yeah, come pick us up. We're going down to Mayakoba. But this is, I think it's gonna be a fun course, and it's a track where I think some guys who may not find themselves in contention too often on the PGA Tour because of the lack of distance. I think this is a course that really favors accuracy more than anything. So I think there are some guys from down in the bottom who could be a little bit more alive this week. But getting into a course breakdown, as I mentioned, stretches just over 7,000 yards, another par 71. So 11 par fours, 4 par threes, 3 par fives, and just not a lot of long, difficult holes. Like three of the 4 par threes are going to be $150 or shorter. They're really gettable. One's going to stretch about 200 yards depending on the tee box. Looking at the 3 par fives, the longest one only gets up to 570 yards. I think those 3 holes are going to yield a lot of birdies. And then for the par fours, they're kind of all split up. There will be 3 holes that come in shorter than 400. 6 or 7 will come in between 400 and 450, and then a 2 or 3 will be sprinkled over 470 yards. But none of them are going to be too tricky. There's going to be a lot of birdie opportunities here if you're able to play clean golf. I really think that's the biggest thing, is playing clean tee to green. The only real danger is when you get wayward off the tee box and you kind of bring in this oceanic style course into play. Those elements can also find the jungle in certain spots, kind of looking like the backdrop we have on the show. It's a really unique course, but it also is going to play very beneficial, and it's going to reward players who are accurate both off the tee and with their irons. So I think it's going to be really key to hit a lot of greens in regulation. I think guys who are scrambling probably aren't going to be in contention with the winning score, as you mentioned, being around 20 under. And another thing here, the greens are really slow. These pass palm greens, which we don't see too often on the PGA Tour, they're really slow. They're only running about a 10 or an 11 on the stimp meter. And that's going to allow for players with wedges and with short irons to be able to really go pin hunting because there's not too much slope. And also on the putting surfaces, we've seen guys who genuinely don't putt all that well do well on pass palm greens because they're more of a true flat, slower roll. So I think that's one thing to consider. I do think it's important to putt well to win here, but I don't think we have to particularly just pick out good putters because we've seen in the past on pass palm greens, guys who aren't historically good with the flat stick kind of come alive. So it's a really intriguing course. Again, I think it kind of offers up to a lot of different skill sets. And that kind of makes it a challenge this week, deciding exactly who we want to go after, I think.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting too, like looking at the Mayakoba Resort's unique like canal system. I mean, golfers can step out of their rooms and onto a boat, and that'll take them to their first tee. So I thought that was pretty cool that they can do that there. And I mean, I'm with you though. Like, it's absolutely imperative for you to hit a bunch of fairways this week, be accurate off the tee. A lot of different tee boxes from what it sounds like 5 different per. Is it 5 different per hole? It seems like.
I don't know exactly the number, but I know that can kind of differentiate the par fours a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. We'll see like what approach that people take on or the golfers will take on that.
One thing I forgot to mention, sorry to interrupt you. One thing we also may see here, because the fairway is so important, we might not see as many drivers, or at least guys who aren't the most accurate with their driver. They might club down to the 3-wood or the hybrid just to ensure that they hit the fairway. And with the way the game is today, these guys are still hitting hybrids like 270, 280, still poking out there a good distance, which is just insane to think about. So some guys won't necessarily have to use the driver, but I think ideal is long and straight, which is why we've seen Victor Hovland, a guy who does that really well, one of the best in the world, win here back-to-back times. So distance isn't key here, but I think if you hit it straight and long, that could play into your advantage this week.
Yeah, and I was looking also like for some other key stats to look at here. And on datagolf.com, they projected, just looking at their like model and projections, over 2 shots per round on average than on a typical course, coming from that approach shots coming from greater than 200 yards here. So like you're looking at like 6 shots per round greater than that for approach shots greater than 200 yards compared to about like 4 shots per round on a typical course. So I felt like that was another stat that I really wanted to look at. And maybe that is because guys are clubbing down more.
Definitely.
So I love those points. And I think that is something to really consider this week as you're trying to attack it and build your card. But Jack, man, and we know Hovland has won. Victor Hovland has won back-to-back years. I actually, you know what? I screwed up. I wanted to put my Bulls hat on for the three-peat because I was thinking, you know what? This is a perfect time. We haven't seen it since Steve Stricker, I think, the last time somebody three-peated at an event. And Hovland has a chance to do it here. But you know what? Today's a national holiday. The Chicago Cubs won and broke a 108-year drought. And you got it in your background. I got different stuff over here that's put out. I got the W flag over there. National holiday, I had to have the Cubs gear on. They're going to have Cubbies on Tap, a Cubs on Tap episode tonight. Check them out at about 8 o'clock or so. The guys are going to go live. So follow them on Twitter at Cubbies on Tap so that you can check out that show. It should be a special one. I might not be on the show, but definitely, like, it's a special day. It's a special day here, Jack. But now back to the golf. I wanted to wear the Bulls hat, the three-peat 1998 championship hat, because of Victor Hovland. Obviously, he's at the top of the card here as far as betting odds go. Scotty Scheffler actually 9-1, and then you got Victor Hovland there at 11-1. Give me your thoughts on those two guys before we kind of break down a little bit more.
Yeah, I like both of them, and I'm probably leaning more towards Hovland right now just because Scotty Scheffler's putter has just been so ice cold, and he actually implemented a new putter last week and had one of his worst putting performances ever, so that didn't go as he had hoped.
Why would he? I don't even understand why. Like, just stick what you were doing last year. I really don't understand it. Just get better. I don't know.
It just went cold at the end of the year, so I guess he just decided to change things up. Guys just try different things throughout the course of the year. We've seen Colin Morikawa, a guy we'll get to here in a second, switch up his putting grip numerous amounts of times trying to figure it out on the greens. But Victor Hovland, he's just shown us kind of the blueprint of what you can do to have success here. And I mentioned earlier, long and straight around the greens, which is his weakness. Obviously, it doesn't matter too much. He's been a really good putter since he's implemented himself on the tour, and that's kind of, I think, really been the key because greens and regulation are the name of the game here. I think it's been the last 3 years the winners come inside the top 10 in greens and regulations or something along those lines. Don't quote me on that, but we know Victor Hovland hits a lot of greens. Scotty Scheffler hits a ton of greens too. I just take Victor Hovland's putter right now. And I'm not going to get to Scheffler 9-1. Well, I do think this is definitely a place where he can bounce back, and I'm worried about his game. I mentioned earlier, the pass palm greens kind of allows for some guys to putt better than they normally do on those surfaces. So I do think Scheffler is live here. But just given Hovland's track record, and I was also on him not all that long ago at the CJ Cup where he was in contention until Sunday. He just really couldn't get it going for whatever reason. So Hovland's been playing some good golf as of late too. I'd probably lean Hovland over Scheffler, but I don't know if I'm going to get to either of them. I'm kind of up in the air on Hovland right now, but still thinking about it. What do you got with these top two, if anything?
I just can't step in front of greatness. I can't. If you got a chance to be great, go ahead and be great. The main thing for me, and I'm on Hovland basically is what I'm saying. T5 at the Zozo, T21 at the CJ Cup. It's poor odds. We know that. Like, those aren't great odds to be taken. I hate 11-1. I absolutely can't stand it. But we know how much the favorites have been winning lately. A lot. It's a very important trend that's happening. So why not? Let's roll, Vic. I'm in. Like, let's go. I'm going to go ahead and say, like, this is like the Victor Hovland course. So I might as well just bet on him. I'm not going to try to avoid it just to get cute because, you know what? I've done that way too often lately, and it's kind of bit me in the ass. So I'm not doing that.
Hey, you'll like this insight, too. I was watching shout out to Rick Gaiman of rickrungood.com. I was watching his video on the Mayakoba championship earlier, and he actually said he exchanged texts with Victor Hovland And Victor Hovland said this is like the fifth major to him. So he's really wanting to go for the three-peat. Obviously, we mentioned he's in good form. So I definitely understand backing Hovland this weekend. I might even wind up on him myself.
I mean, dude, if he's looking at it like that, not only is it like it's obviously important to him, but this is a prime opportunity for him to just rack up points, right? Get that win now, rack up some points. You put yourself in a really good position as you get closer towards like the real, the time where it really matters. So, I mean, why not? And earn some money. Like, that's a big part of this whole thing too. Guys want to win some money. They don't just show up to events and just want to do bad. So, of course, he's going to look at it like that, especially with a couple of victories back-to-back, stuff on the line here, going for that three-peat. You mentioned somebody in your article. I just read it. Go check that out at ontapsportsnet.com if you haven't yet. But the guy next down the list, 17-1, Tony Finau. You got Aaron Wise, 18-1, Billy Horschel, 18-1, Colin Morikawa, 18-1. Within that group, I know there was one guy that you wrote about. Maybe there was multiple. Which guy do you like out of that group? Or if there's two, which two do you like?
Yeah, I really like Tony Finau first and foremost. Just even given the number, I think he's right there on that same caliber as Scottie Scheffler and Victor Hovland. I mean, look back at what Tony Finau did at the end of last season. It was incredible. Back-to-back victories at the 3M Open. And where did he pick up that second win at? I'm blanking right now. The 3M Open. I don't know.
I can't think. Was it RBC? No,
but he did pick up back-to-back wins. I'm sure of that. And I wrote about it earlier, which I'm kind of letting myself down right now about it. It was the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Thank you very much, Jack.
There you go.
And he also posted really good finishes in two of the three playoff events for the PGA Tour. We haven't seen them yet this year other than at the President's Cup. He went 3-1-0 there, obviously, to help the United States win that. But I just think Tony Finau fits really well here. Like, hits a ton of greens in regulation. He's been gaining a bunch in terms of on approach. His irons have been fantastic. There was a video posted on social media not that long ago where he broke a course record and shot like 13 under or something crazy. The putter, too, go and look at the putting stats. Tony Finau's gained in, I think it's six straight with his putter. He's been really good on the greens. That's kind of what swung his season back in the positive way last year, was figuring it out with the flat stick. His first half of the season stats on the greens were terrible. Once he figured that out, the rest of his game came along, and he had, the best season of his career. So I'm super high on Tony Finau. I think he's a really good fit here at this course. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 6 trips to Playa del Carmen. So I'm really all in on Tony Finau this week. But I also do I like Colin Morikawa, and
there's perfect course for him, really.
There's many debates you can have with Colin Morikawa, and I feel like you can make this argument with him every week because he's just such a good iron player that, and he also is very accurate with the driver. He's not extremely long, but he hits a ton of fairways and gives himself many opportunities because of that. But because he's such a good iron player and, approach means a ton basically every week, it's like you can make the case for Colin Morikawa that, if he putts this week, he's going to win. Yeah, that's basically the case for him, Justin Thomas, Scottie Scheffler at this point. Like, there's a lot of guys you could say that about. So I'm kind of sick of hearing that argument, and more so than that, I just don't trust Colin Morikawa's putter. I get that this is a course where he can get it done, and if he burns me, it wouldn't be the first time. It probably won't be the last time. I think it's a good course fit, but I honestly like Hovland and I like Finau better because I trust their putters, and I trust how many greens they're going to hit. So I like those two more. I gave Morikawa a lot of thought, but Finau's the one bet I have locked in right now. And then, as I mentioned, I have Hovland on I'm on the fence on Victor Hovland right now. So that's kind of what I got at the top of the board. What do you have out of this range?
You know what? Honestly, it's pretty much just Vic as far as what I've bet, but I do like Wise and I like Horschel as well. Morikawa for the reasons you mentioned, though, like the iron play. He can really club down here, and he's so good with the irons. I mean, yeah, I there's no reason not to like him on a course like this. I just don't trust him right now. Like, I just don't. And that's that short price. I got to really feel good about where you're at. I do feel good about where Aaron Wise and Billy Ho are right now, though. And I feel like they can do really well here. I think they both have pretty good track records here, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, they do. They do. Aaron Wise has come close a couple of times. I think Billy Horschel's top 10 his last 2 times here. I'm just not going to get to Wise at 20-1, man. That's just
that's tough.
I just can't do that, but I get it. His game's in a good spot. It's a good course fit. He's done well here. Just Tony Finau's 2 points shorter than he is. Are you kidding me? You know?
The only reason why like Finau, I can't get there either. So I haven't bet any of these other guys outside of Vic. Yeah, if at all, if I'm going to get there at all. The only reason why I'm like hard pressed to bet Finau at this point is we have not seen him much lately. And like coming into this, I'm not saying we saw him at the President's Cup. I just don't know where he's at right at this moment. I would like to see a week before jumping back in on Finau, because how long did we go where he's like, everything looks good. He's just got to win, Tony. Just got to win. And he just couldn't win. And I know he's over the hump now, but it's like, I want to see like the recent – I feel like he's a guy that needs to get in his groove and just stay in his groove. So that's the only reason why I'm like, I don't know, Finau. But like you said, if that thing circulated where he shot 13 under and stuff, I mean – I might be a little scared this week.
His son recorded, and it was insane. Like it was insane to watch Tony Finau just absolutely shred that golf course. But let's move on, because there are a lot of guys I haven't getting down.
There absolutely are. 30-1, we got Maverick McNeely. We got Tom Hoagie, Mr. Hoagie Buns, 30-1. Emiliano Grillo, 33-1. Brian Harmon, 40-1. We got Taylor Montgomery at 40-1. Thomas Dietrich just finished second place a week ago, 40-1. Brendan Todd, 45-1. KH Lee, 45. Russell Henley, 45. We're going really far down the list, but that group right there, it's pretty strong. And it's also like, I know we're not betting all of these guys, but what do you like from this range right here?
Yeah, this is a really good range, and this is partially the reason why I'm a little hesitant on Victor Hovland, because I'm already on Finau. I don't know if I want to have too much exposure at the top, because it's going to limit me a little bit more in this group. But I really like Mr. Hoagie Buns. He's off to a great start here in the fall. Seems like he always, or at least the last 2 years, because he's kind of emerged as a new player these last 2 seasons. But the last 2 falls have been really good to him. He doesn't have the best track record here, but I do think he fits well on this course. He's a guy who hits a ton of greens in regulation. We've talked about his proximity the last couple of weeks. He's been really good with his irons, wedges too, inside of like 125, 150 yards. I don't know if he's a guy that's going to be hitting his driver or laying up more so than not. So it's kind of hard to project where his shots are going to be coming from. But if he does need to, if he does find himself in that range, we know what we're getting from him. So I do like Mr. Hoagie Buns. I think 30-1 is a pretty fair number. I also like Emiliano Grillo, and I think everyone kind of likes Emiliano.
Wait. Let's stop with Hoagie, because I'm with you on Hoagie. So I feel like, and you're about to bring up another guy I'm interested in too. So let's just bounce this back and forth real fast.
For sure. Hit me with it.
Hoagie, I love Hoagie, man. It's a heat check for me. Put the buns in the oven. Like this guy, I was looking at like datagolf.com's trend index. Nobody's hotter than Rory McIlroy right now. Like there's just nobody. It's Rory, Rahm, Finau, which you're on this week. DJ, live golf guy. Can't use him ever. Cantlay. You know who's 6th on that list? Mr. Hoagie Buns himself. Dude, after the Pebble Beach Pro-Am last year, which he picked up the win, he cooled off, lost himself for a while. Like he missed 6 cuts in a row at one point. But, I mean, to start the year, T12, T4, T9, T13, 4 events, all inside the top 20, inside the top 15. Like, I mean, it's a heat check for me, man. I like Mr. Hoagie this week. Tell me about Grillo.
Again, just another really good course fit, a guy who strikes the crap out of the ball. We've been talking about Emiliano Grillo for 2 months.
Every week.
If you're a consistent listener of the show, you know we love us some Emiliano Grillo because the ball striking's tremendous. He did finally lose strokes putting, Joey. Finally lost strokes putting in his last time out, but still, we know we've seen it. We've seen how good the putter can be. He's also someone that plays really well on past Palm historically throughout his career and has had some pretty good finishes here. So I really like Hoagie and I like Grillo, and I also really like Brendan Todd. I think this is one of the few places on the PGA Tour schedule where Brendan Todd has a legitimate chance. And go and look at what he's done his last 3 trips here. He missed the cut in 2016, but then victory, 2 top 11s his last 2 times out. You want to talk about a guy who plays a clean game from tee to green, is going to, only hit it about 270, 280 with the driver, but he's going to hit the fairway a ton. He's going to hit a lot of greens and regulations, and he's one of the best putters in the entire world. He's gained strokes putting in 12 consecutive events. I trust Brendan Todd rolling the rock maybe more than anyone outside of like Denny McCarthy or Taylor Montgomery, who's also in this range. I just really like Brendan Todd's putter. He's a great fit for this course. He's got great course history. He's been trending well so far here in the fall. He's got 2 top 10s, 3 cuts made, and 4 appearances. And at the CJ Cup too, more of a, it played easier than we thought, but a really good field. He still finished T7 there. I'm all in on Brendan Todd. Those are the 3 guys I really like from this range and who I'm probably going to have to limit it down to. But I've also seen some steam on Taylor Montgomery, and we've kind of been 2 people who have backed him so far in his rookie year. And while he hasn't gotten the win yet, he just seems like he's a top 10, top 15 machine, and feels like it's going to come eventually. I just don't know if it's going to come on this type of field where it is got some superstars at the top, but I like Montgomery. Dietrich obviously flashed some potential last week. He's someone you've been on this year. So I really like this range, man. I could make arguments for a lot of guys. You said you're on Hoagie. Sounds like you're on Griot too. What do you like about him, and who else you got in here?
It's tough, man. It's so tough. This range really is tough to limit it down. And
yeah.
That's why I said, I know we can't bet everybody, but I like you said, there's a reason you could bet just about everybody. You can find a reason to bet everybody in this range. I really like this area. Somebody you're not going to like that I'm betting this week.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah, you know who it is. I'll get to him in a second, though. I am in on Griot, the Grail Master, baby. Why not? Everything's rolling right now, other than the putter. He did lose the strokes gain putting, which is something to watch moving forward here, because that's one of the reasons why we've been liking him so much, because, he's always a pretty good ball striker. Like he's always got that side of the game rolling. So the models and the track record here, they love him this week. So
he always plays well by water. Always.
Yeah, for whatever reason. He's the shrimp griller. We already talked about that. He's the shrimp master on the grill.
Charcoal's down in Mexico this week, baby.
So I like Griot. Todd, the Todd father. Saw him in your article too. I don't know. We're thinking pretty similarly again this week. I'll just kind of reiterate all the points that you made, but also, he's tied for 5th so far this year in par 4 birdie or better percentage. A lot of par 4s. Obviously, we talked about that could be key here. Never hurts to have good course history here too. Finished T11 or better in each of his last 3 trips here to Mayakoba, including a win. So, if we've seen a guy like Vic go back to back, there's no reason why Brendan Todd can't. It's not back to back, but no reason why he can't win again. So I like that. You're gonna hate me now, Mr. Jason Day. Step right up. Beautiful day. 45-1. I mean, if he's putting, really, what are we not supposed to like right now about his game? Because I just keep looking at it, dude. The approach, like when he won 8 events in a span of 2 seasons, he was a top 35 approach guy. He's 3rd in ball striking right now, and he's 6th, I believe. Yes, on tour, 6th in strokes gained approach. Again, the CJ Cup was a tough field. He finished T11. Can he close the door? I don't know, but I can't stop buying. I hate this price because I was super in when he was 100-1 and 90 and 80-1. Hate this price, but I kind of understand it. I feel like the models are catching up. The books are catching up, and they're like, you know what? We got to kind of move this guy up the betting odds because he's golfing pretty well right now, Jack. I know you hate it, but I feel like it's coming soon. I can't stop now, baby. I can't.
I get that, and to your credit, Jason Day has been playing pretty good as of late. Still concerned about the putter. I'm really concerned about the putter, actually. It feels like for me personally, you're on this train already, so you're in. You're in for the long haul. It's like
I have to.
It's like being invested in crypto right now. It's down. You're down bad, but you're in it for the long haul. You know you're in it for the long haul. That's how you're in it with Jason Day right now.
He's paying me back at some point. That's how I feel.
You're in. You got to wait it out. It feels like it's me with Corey Connors. Like, I mean, Corey Connors didn't go through that run, obviously, and has never been the best in the world, but it feels like when you're in, you got to fully buy in, and if you miss out at that point. So I get Jason Day this week more so than others. I personally am probably just going to have to see it before I have interest. He does make sense here, though. I do get it. Just some
scared money. Scared money don't make money. That's how I'm looking at it. And you know what? I've been losing a lot on Jason Day. Let's put it that way. We didn't get an outright last week, Jack. I did have a pretty decent week, though, with the prop bets. That Brian Gay, just something that I just thought about right now, though. Brian Gay and Adam Schenk, which Schenk was having a good tournament outside. I think it was the fourth round that really kind of –
I think it was Saturday.
Was it Saturday?
Double bogeyed like the fifth, and he was like 3 over through 5, and it was like, oh, Shanky boy.
Which he still got top 40, which is okay. I needed either him or Sam Ryder to come top 40 for me to make money while Brian Gay was top 20 and top 40. That plus 600, though, the 6-1 top 20 was nice. Ooh, Brian Gay, thank you, my friend.
He almost pulled it out. He almost did it again.
Dude, he was – you know what? If he would have shot a 66 again on Sunday, because he did it the first 3 rounds, if he would have shot a 66 – he would have won, I think, right? Because he would have had –
Seamus Power got the heebie-jeebies late, but he had a 2-shot lead, so he bogeyed 18 to win at 19 and still won by a stroke.
He won at 19 under, though, right? Okay, so yeah, he would have won. He would have had 20. So, damn, I'm just like, man, he kind of choked a little bit there.
So did everyone. So did, like, everyone randomly down the stretch.
It was a very weird – it was a weird Sunday, that's for sure. But back to this week, I don't know why. Sometimes I get distracted. I don't know what I start thinking about, but – you never know what I'm going to start talking about. 45-1. We already talked about Brandon Todd, Cage Lee, Russell Henley, those guys. I actually don't know if you didn't mention those guys, so I'm assuming you're not on those guys.
No.
Andrew Putnam, 50-1. Kuchar, Matt Kocha, 50-1. Jason Day, I already mentioned him. I don't even think that's his price anywhere. I couldn't find a 50-1. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm looking at the checker right now, and I don't see him on the individual books itself.
Right.
Seamus Power, 50-1, coming off the win. Noren, 55-1. Keith Mitchell, 55-1. Adam Hadwin, 66-1, and then JJ Spawn. Did you get to anybody in this area?
I didn't actually get to anyone in this range. A little interest in I've seen some people on Alex Noren and Andrew Putnam this week. I'm probably not there. I think Matt Kuchar is someone who's worth a look because even though he hasn't been the consistent player that he once was on the PGA Tour, there are select spots that he goes to where he still has a chance. And I believe it was the Valero Texas Open where he's made the cut there like 7-8 years in a row. And it just seems like he has kind of those spots where he knows he has a chance because he's one of those guys who doesn't hit it far, but hits a lot of fairways. And when the putter gets hot and he's hitting greens in regulation, he actually has a chance. And he's won this event before. Still 2 good results his last 2 times out here. I think Kuchar worth 50-1 is worth a look. I'm probably just not going to be able to squeeze him in, but he's probably the one I could make an argument for the most. You got anyone from in this range?
I do not. I just don't believe that Seamus Power is going to go back to back, and I think he's got the game to do it this week again. Maybe he just stays hot. I mean, who knows? Matt Kuchar makes a lot of sense. You mentioned him being a past winner here. He's usually pretty good here. I just don't think he's going to win now. Like, I don't know. That's just kind of my gut. Maybe it's like, oh, hashtag analysis. There's no analysis there behind that. I just don't feel it's a feel thing sometimes with just betting. And I don't know. I just don't feel it with Matt Kuchar this week, but he's probably the guy that I would lean towards in this range. If I was going to pick somebody, Mitchell, I want him for like the long range courses where you really need to drive it. That's where I want Keith Mitchell. So not this week for me.
No.
70-1, we got Joel Damon. Seen some interest in him around the industry at least. Sebastian Munoz at 70-1. Aaron Rye. Are you on the Rye bread this week? 80-1. Adam Long is 80-1. Cameron Champ 80-1. Davis Riley 80-1. Dean Burmester, the Mista guy, 80-1. and then Harris English and Hayden Buckley rounding it out at 80-1. Anybody in here, Jack, that you I actually know for sure there is somebody that you like here.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that I actually like from this range. I have seen the interest in Joel Damon this week. I probably won't get to him at 70-1. Munoz, I've talked about how I like him on easier courses where he can favor his irons. That seems to be a fit this week, but I like some more. I like some other guys a little bit more. I really like Hayden Buckley. I really think, as I mentioned, long and straight is a great combination here. And Hayden Buckley, not only does he hit it a long ways, but he also is very accurate with the driver and has been gaining accuracy-wise on the field with that club more weeks than not. So I trust Hayden Buckley's driver. That's the strength of his game. He's off to a really good fall start, as he was last year again. Seems like these are the type of events where he knows that he has his best shot and has performed well in the fall so far in his career. So I like Hayden Buckley at 80-1, man. He's someone who's hovering contention, and I think potentially has some more game than we give him credit for. So I like Hayden Buckley. I also like Adam Long. He's someone who's played really well at Mayakoba, T2 and T3 in two of his last three appearances here before a T22 last year. Guy who just hits a ton of fairways, a really good putter. He was, I think, 30th on the PGA Tour in putting last year. He's been okay to start the year. He's been making cuts. I don't know if he has a high-end finish in him, honestly, but we know that he's capable of it here, and it's a course where he actually does have a chance. So given the odds, I like Hayden Buckley, and I like Adam Long. I also, I'm probably not going to get there, but Aaron Rai makes a ton of sense for the same reasons as last week. He hits a lot of fairways. Justin Lower was someone I was on at Bermuda. He was actually the guy that had the best finish for me. He continues to just putting together T20s and having some good results. So there are some guys here in this range. Robbie Shelton, too, a guy who a lot of people have liked, came from the Korn Ferry Tour last year. There's some interest in this range. I'm probably just going with Buckley and Long. I think those are the only two that I'm going to make room for on my card. Maybe I'll add another one, but numbers-wise, I probably won't get there. Who do you like from in this pocket?
So the problem with looking at all the research and stats and stuff for guys like us, because we love to look at that stuff, the problem with that is for a lot of these tournaments, at least right now, and I believe it's called shot link data, we're not getting the data necessary that we normally would get from a lot of these different tournaments. And that's infuriating.
Yeah,
that's infuriating.
It sucks. They don't bring the lasers to Japan or Mexico or Bermuda. It's annoying.
It's super annoying. So, I'm looking and I'm like, hey, how was Aaron Rai last week? In the advanced categories, in the metrics. You know what? I can't tell. So it pisses me off, man. But you know what? I'll buy back in again on Aaron Rai. I like it. Good accuracy, good approach game. Also, the stat that I mentioned at the top of the show, he's pretty good on approaches from greater than 200 yards. And that possibly being a key number this week with maybe 6 on average per round coming from that range for approach shots. Yeah, he struggled with the par threes last week. If I remember correctly, he really struggled with the par threes.
Tough par threes, though, man. To be fair, yeah. Some of the toughest on tour.
I think that was it the 16th hole that was really super bad, or was the 16th or 15th, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't really fault the guy for struggling with the par threes last week. I really can't. If he can shoot closer to even on the par threes this week, I think he's in good shape. I like Aaron Rai. Yeah, Adam Long, man, too. I actually grabbed him on our sponsor, Bet Rivers. They have this thing called enhanced odds, and 90-1 on Bet Rivers. Go ahead, enter the promo code. If you go over there, enter the promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code ONTAP at Bet Rivers for an up to $250 deposit match. What are you waiting for? It's free money. Adam Long, 90-1 over there. You mentioned the track record. Out of golfers with at least 12 rounds played on this course, he's number 1 in above expectation, and I believe true strokes gained too. So, hopefully he's long, he's strong, and he's down to give us a freaking outright, Jack. The Mista guy, I'm in again. 100-1, man. I found him at 100-1. I believe it was MGM. We're shouting out another book here. Yeah, I think some people still really don't know who this guy is. He's a young cat, or he's not a young cat, excuse me. I'm going to bet on the off the tee talent that I think that he has, and he's 12th in this field in ball striking this season. So, the irons need to pick it up. But if he does that, which, I mean, we say that about putting too. Like, if he does that, blah, 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 if he does that, it's easier said than done still. I think this is a fair price for the Mista guy.
Yeah, he's been really good so far this year. We haven't seen him in a little bit. He's kind of taken a little bit of a break since the Shriners, I think. But
I think so, yeah.
Guy that just, keeps routing out good finishes, keeps making cuts weekly. I understand it. I honestly think I might get on him another way, but you might have talked me into it. I do like Burmeister, but once we get down here, it starts to get thin for me for sure. There's only like one or two guys who I have even considered.
Yeah, let's talk about those guys. We'll just kind of skip past we don't need to go range here. Like, let's, go down the list. Who are some of the other guys that, I don't know, piqued your interest maybe down the board? Not quite bombers, but long odds. Anybody, I don't know, who are you feeling this week?
Kevin Yu is someone who I've heard a lot of people talk about. He had a T3 finish last week at Bermuda. A guy who's continued to progress here in the fall season. I don't know if I'm going to get on him in an outright. I feel like a top 20 or a top 40 is probably better. But this is a kid who's got a lot of game. Justin Suh is also someone who's kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Another guy who was really good on the Corn Ferry Tour. And actually, he came up the same year as Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa and Matthew Wolff in that same class. And he was considered to be right like neck and neck with those guys when they were emerging from the college scene. He just didn't get off to the same start as they all did and didn't find that immediate success like those three did, but still a guy who has a lot of talent. I feel like 100-1 could be worth a flyer, but again, these guys down here, I feel like are probably smarter for some of the prop bets. So I'm not really going to be betting too much down here. I like too many guys in the middle pocket to be getting too much exposure. So that's really it for me until a couple of props that caught my eye.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I was kind of feeling the same way. I normally go real low and just try it out, put a little feeler in there. Probably find one or two here before they tee it up. I mean, I'm sure I will, but it just wasn't that enticing. Honestly, 180-1 or 200, or if you could find a 200 out there for Eric Van Rooyen. Maybe not the craziest idea. I'm not going to do it though, probably, but it's probably not the craziest idea. The guy I did bet though, there's one guy really far down here, Austin Smotherman.
Oh, the Smotherman.
Yeah, the Smotherman. Let's go for it. 200-1. I grabbed him at pretty good on approaches from over 200 yards last year and this year so far. T23 at Butterfield, Bermuda last week. Pretty accurate off the tee. Was 24th in strokes gained off the tee last year. He's putting pretty well right now. I mean, 200-1 on MGM. Come on. What are we doing? It's a misprice compared to the other books. 125-1. I'm seeing him in that near range on a lot of other books. 130-1. Like, should not be 200. I'll take a stab at it. Like, do I really see him winning this? Probably not, but he's got potential, man. So, especially at this event. So I like the Smotherman this week.
He had a good week last week, just kind of flopped on the weekend. He was right there until the end, though.
Yeah, definitely. As a lot of guys did. That felt like it just felt like that. Jack, was there any other guys here? I mean, I don't think you had much interest. We're not going Henrik Norlander at 400-1, are we?
That's not happening, no.
All right, that's not happening for me either. Any prop bets, so nationality props, stuff like that this week?
Yeah, so I had two top 20s that caught my interest. One, Hayden Buckley, plus 280. He's top 23 of his 4 starts so far in this fall. And then Dean Burmeister, too, the Mista guy, plus 280, same number as well. A guy who has been rattling off some good finishes. I know we haven't seen him in a little while, but I definitely think he's capable. And this feels like a course where being a driver heavy or being a guy that can kind of not rely on his driver, but knows that's a strength of his game. I feel like it's a good course fit. So I had Burmeister and Buckley top 20, both at plus 280. The only top 40 I got to was Justin Lower, plus 100. I mentioned earlier, he just keeps churning out good results. Good finish last week again at Bermuda. I think he's a guy who is very capable of showing this type of consistency once again here this week. I don't know if he's capable of winning, but top 40 at even money feels very reasonable. So I got that. And then the last one I got, the only nationality prop I like this week. I thought about Griot as the top South American, but I couldn't lay the minus 140 juice that I was seeing out there. So instead, I went and took the Mista guy plus 200 for top South African. I didn't think that group was very deep. So that was the one nationality prop that really stood out to me. You got any props this week going on?
I kind of like that. I'm not going to lie. I did take Burmester at a top 40 number plus 100. There might be a better price out there. Shop around. But that's what I wrote down anyways. I haven't officially bet it, but I'm going to. But I do like the top 20 call too. I mean, if I think he's got a chance to win the tournament, top 20 is not bad. That number that you gave out. I didn't really do anything in the nationality market. I'm taking a quick look right now. It's really tough, man. Like, I also saw that the South African one, and I was like, man, with Burmester there and Griot, and like, it's just, I don't know, that's just tough. Or not Griot, excuse me. That was the South American market. Minus 145. That's just, I can't lay that juice.
No.
But it's like, yeah, I kind of like that South African plus 190 there. Higo's kind of the only thing that might hold me back there. And well, Van Rooyen's he's been awful though lately.
Awful.
He's been awful. I don't know. I heard somebody saying that he's been pretty good lately, and I'm like, what have you been fucking watching? Anyways, I don't know. So that's pretty much it. I might do a head-to-head. We'll see how much time I get. I might even write an article with this. We're ticking down the hours here, and I've kind of waited a little bit too long. I do like Adam Long over JJ Spawn this week as far as a head-to-head matchup goes, because we like Long as far as, think he's got a chance. He's very boom or bust at times, but here at this track, I think he's got a good opportunity. It's not like Spawn's been awful here by any means, but you're talking about the guy that's number one in over expectation here and true strokes gained with at least 12 rounds played, I believe it was. Yeah, go ahead and give it to me at plus money too, or is even money. So take that. Jack, favorite bet this week? What's your favorite bet? Outright, anything? What do you got?
That's a good question. Favorite bet of this week. I'm gonna go with Tom Hoge. Go with Tom Hoge outright. I'm feeling like Tom Hoge.
I like that.
Fall swing just seems to be his jam. Really good iron player. Hits a ton of greens in regulation. I like Tom Hoge this week. I think he keeps it rolling. You mentioned earlier, not a lot of guys in the world right now that are playing better golf as of late than Tom Hoge. So I'm going to trust him to keep it rolling. I know he doesn't have the best results here historically throughout his career, but he's also a different player. He just is. He's a different player. He's established himself more so than ever on the PGA Tour. I also think that goes a long way with confidence and believing in yourself. And again, I just think this is a course that fits this new Tom Hoge a lot better than it did in the past. So I trust Tom Hoge here. I think my favorite outright, I'm going Hoge Buns 33-1.
Let's go. Well, you're going to be a little bit upset, but that's also mine. That's also my favorite bet of the week is the outright for Tom Hoge. I know it's a heat check type of thing, but why not? Like, I'm sick of playing this. Oh, well, he's hot now. He might cool down, blah, blah, blah. No, man. Sometimes a guy just gets in a groove and just keeps riding it for a little bit. So I feel like Hoge is one of those guys. When he gets into a groove, he just starts feeling it, because we know when he's not in a groove, he can really not feel it for a while.
Yes, can be streaky both ways.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna ride it while it's hot. Hoge is also my favorite outright. I'll say that, but I don't really have like a favorite bet. I guess that is my favorite bet. Jack, one and done. Who gets to go? I technically won last week, but you're first on the leaderboard. So what did we decide on? Was it first on the leaderboard?
It's still going to be me because I'm still ahead. Humble brag. You got to take me down if you want to go first, big dog.
I'm not going to be able to do that by picking up 5 points in the standings.
Yeah, that's not going to get the job done. I'm going with Brendan Todd this week as my
Ooh.
Going Brendan Todd. Who you got?
All right. You know what?
You burning hoagie buns?
Oh, don't tempt me. That's literally what I was thinking. Oh boy, that would
understand it. Could go Vic.
No,
JT though too. So that is something you need to
burn
keep
JT
in your mind.
Exactly. I don't know if I'm going to use hoagie at like a major. I mean, I don't see that. Like, I guess it's possible, but.
Yeah, you could I don't know. Where did he do well last year? I think he did well at he won the Pebble Beach, obviously. I think he had a T2 somewhere else early on in the season. You're probably not going to use him in majors, so I'd get it.
I mean, I'm trying to think through this process. Not that I expect you to help me with this decision because you want to beat me here.
I'll help you.
But I feel like, we're talking strategy anyways. We're trying to help people make their own decisions and make money anyways. So I'm looking back. Let me look back at his season last year.
Yeah, where'd he come T2? I know he had one.
He was American Express T2. Obviously, let's see. That was his only. He had a T4 at the 3M Open. Looking at his majors here, he was cut at the U.S. Open. Jeez, the Open Championship, PGA Championship T9, Masters T39. You know what? I'm doing it. Tom Hoagie, one and done. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah, write it down.
Big week out of Mr. Hoagie Buns to catch up on your boy here. You're still down a decent chunk, but a long ways to go, brother. So
we got a lot.
It's going to be a long ways until we have any idea how this is going to go.
I honestly feel like one of us hits an outright on their one and done, and it's going to be
game changer.
It's going to be a game changer, but then somebody's going to do it again. That's probably going to happen at least once this year. Jack, this has been great. Any final thoughts for this tournament coming up? I mean, we went a whole 51 and a half minutes now, which for this, it's a pretty good event. It's probably the best event that we're going to see for the next 3 weeks at least. Any final thoughts, things to look forward to, things you're watching for this week?
Yeah, I just think this is a really cool and unique course that, as I referenced earlier, is going to give some more guys, I think, an opportunity to hover around in contention. And it's a birdie fest still. You're going to see plenty of birdies. And I think it's going to generate a good Sunday with those amount of opportunities being out there, unless someone's running away with it. So should be a good event. I'm excited for it. And it also has one of the best trophies in all of golf, the actual rainbow chameleon. It's really dope. So
it's sick. It is sick.
I love those dope trophies. There's some really good ones in golf. Victor Hovland obviously going for the three-peat. Should be a fun storyline to watch because we just don't see that type of stuff happen too often. So we'll see if Hovland can do it. But yeah, I'm stoked for this event. Last good one until the Hero World Challenge. So hopefully we come out with a W.
I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. I want to see greatness. I would love to see Vic win it since I am betting on him, but we want the better odds. Go ahead with Mr. Hoagie. I'm okay with that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will say this. Nothing beats the Sanderson Farms Trophy. That's just number one. The Cock Trophy for me is the best trophy, but I do love this trophy. And I didn't even know what the trophy was for the Sanderson until you told me about it earlier this year. So now that I know, I'm like, that's the best trophy in golf. Jack, with that said, we got to get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know. Thank you. First of all, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Those of you tuning in, we really appreciate it. We're trying to build this thing up. Like and subscribe on all of your podcast platforms, on YouTube. Follow us over there. There's a bunch of content over there. You go to the OnTap Sportsnet YouTube page. You can pull up Chicago Cubs stuff, which they're going to have a show for you in just a little bit. Pull up Bulls stuff, Bears, Blackhawks, White Sox, obviously gambling and golf. You name it. Bears just did a ton of stuff at the trade deadline. Go check out that stuff at OnTapSportsNet.com. We are OnTap Bets at OnTap Bets and OnTap Golf at OnTap Golf. Jack is at Jack Bushman 2. I got to run through this thing pretty quickly. I feel like I'm getting a lot better at these exits, man. At Joey Knows Nothing. Nothing without the G, ends in IN, because that stands for win. You already know. Jack, let's cash some tickets and get out of here. What do you say, man?
Absolutely. Let's get back in the W column this week, buddy.
Let's go. Cash, crack them, lock them, and we're out.